Valentine's Day, everybody. On this beautiful February 14th, Sunday, Valentine's Day, I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Not only do I have Valentine's Day wishes, but I have cards and candy and flowers because I want all of you to be my Valentine today, and we're just going to focus on the wonderful things that are happening to us today. I hope that you are in a generous mood today. This is just a good day to call someone up and tell them you love them. Could be your parents, could be your children, who maybe have grown up and gone away, or it could be the children that still at home who would like to have a hug and hear you say, I love you. It could be your husband, it could be your wife, it could be your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Tell somebody you love them and tell somebody that this is a good day to be happy. So I like poetry. I like to read poetry and I like to recite poetry. When I was a young girl in high school, one of the things that I really liked to do was to write letters to boys, and I like for boys to write letters back to me. That's sort of gone away now with social media, but that was a time when girls and boys wrote love letters to each other, and I really like to get in love letters. But today I'm feeling generous, and I want to pass it on. So I want to read a poem to you that I used to read to my students when I was still teaching. It's children's literature, but children's literature is designed to entertain and also to teach lessons. This poem teaches the importance of being generous and sharing what you have with others. So the title of the poem is A Legend of the Northland by Phoebe Cary, in which we learn what happens to us when we cannot bring ourselves to share with those in need. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through, where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bears' cubs in their funny, furry clothes. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it's true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it preaching, just as he did, you know. He came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. Therefore she made another, and still a smaller one. But it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer. But she couldn't part with that. For she said, my cakes, they seem too small when I eat them of myself, and yet too large to give away. So she put them on the shelf. Then good St. Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint. And surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. And he said, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter, and fire to keep you warm. Now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard, dry wood. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed into a bird. She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burned, black as a coal in the flame. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood, where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring for food. And this is a lesson she teaches. Live not for yourself alone, lest the needs you will not pity shall one day be your own. Give plenty to what is given to you. Listen to pity's call. Don't think the little you give is great and the much you get is small. Now, my little boy, remember that and try to be kind and good. When you see the woodpecker's sooty dress and see her scarlet hood, you may not be changed into a bird, though you live as selfishly as you can. But you will be changed to a smaller thing. A mean and selfish man. At first glance, it may not seem that that is a love poem, but think seriously and deeply, that poem goes well with love and marriage. I'm going to leave you some really sweet images of love couples who have stood the test of time and some that might be still working to get there, but they look good while they're doing it. And I end this by saying, Happy Valentine's Day!